Poland, aka the Republic of Poland, from 966 CE to present. Poland is located in Central Europe and it shares a border with Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, and the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad Oblast. Poland is Europe's fifth largest country and is home to more than 38 million people. The capital of Poland is Warsaw, which is home to roughly 1.7 million of them. The primary language spoken within the country is Polish, but there are enough people who speak Belarusian, German, and Ukrainian to have them considered as other principal tongues for the country. Poland is over 1,000 years old. 966 CE is noted as the year they adopted Christianity, though the country is much older than that. The conversion of faith, set about by Polish ruler Meszko I, is known as the Baptism of Poland, but it was really just Meszko and his court which were baptized. Though it may have been legitimate, a big part of doing this was to avoid persecution as a pagan tribe in need of conversion. Though they officially became a country during this time, the road to the Poland we all know and love has been very bumpy. Not everyone was on board with the conversion to Christianity, and it resulted in rebellion throughout the 1030s, which destabilized the new nation. The appanage system of inheritance was used as a means to pass power on, and meant lands were split amongst all living sons. Because of this, Poland was split into 5 principalities after the death of Boleslaw the Wrymouth in 1138 and further weakened the state. The Mongols invaded from 1240 to 1241, further hindering unification, and it wasn't until 1320 that the principalities were officially reunified. Casimir the Great, pictured on the right, is the only Polish ruler to have garnered the title of Great and made possibly the biggest impact on Poland of any leader. Under his rule, the country became a major European power, and in 1364 he called for the creation of the University of Krakow, which is one of the oldest colleges in Europe. By 1619, and after a number of wars, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which had been joined in 1569, was the largest country in Europe. In 1791, Poland adopted a constitution which set the first supreme national laws in the nation's history and implemented a constitutional monarchy. It was then immediately appealed as a potential power grab for Polish hegemony and resulted in multiple partitions and the ultimate dissolution of the state in 1795 until 1918. About 2 million Polish troops fought in World War I, and over 450,000 died fighting on behalf of the Allies. In return, the Allies made the decision to reconstitute the country, and Poland officially regained independence after the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. Despite having reformed as a nation, Poland was beset with turmoil during the interwar period. The country saw both the assassination of their first new president by a right-wing extremist in 1922 and a coup in 1926. By the 1930s, political extremism was rampant within the country, and the central government implemented strict policies to try and contain it. Poland was the very first country attacked in the beginning stages of World War II. On September 1st of 1939, Nazi Germany attacked from the east, and on September 17th, the Soviet Union joined in. A short 20 years after reunification, and Poland, as well as the people residing within it, were affronted by genocide and eviction. The Polish people played an incredibly important role in the defeat of the Axis powers, contributing the 4th largest number of troops in all of Europe and acting as an important liaison for wartime intelligence and contributing greatly to the underground and open resistance movements. Poland was home to 6 Nazi extermination camps, including Chełmno, Belzec, Sobibór, Treblinka, Auschwitz-Birkenau, and Majdanek. After the war, and despite promises of sovereignty for the efforts of the exiled government, Poland was forced into the Eastern Bloc under the auspices of the Soviet Union. Poland is home to the Solidarity movement, which has largely contributed with sparking reform amongst socialist and communist regimes in the Eastern Bloc. The group was active throughout the 1980s, and in the election of 1989 and 1990, they won a partially free election which signed the end of communism within Poland. The Third Polish Republic took form after the fall of communism and is still in effect today. Poland joined NATO in 1999 and the European Union in 2003, though they have dealt with much of the same Euroscepticism which led to Brexit. And as of 2023, Poland has seen 17 million Ukrainian refugees cross their border as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Poland has a long and storied history that has produced a vibrant and occasionally troublesome culture. 90% of Polish citizens identify as Roman Catholic, and that plays largely into the traditional conservative values that are seen within the country. Though big cities tend to have more open-minded concept of what is acceptable, many of the small cities within the country abide by patriarchal ideologies. In many families, the man is still considered the head of the household, and Poland has not yet recognized same-sex marriage. Poland is collectivist by nature, and the people of Poland are said to be extremely hardworking, with a culture that values punctuality and respect for deadlines. This collectivist nature has at times come out in the form of nationalistic views, which led to the election of the Law and Labor Party in 2016, who have been criticized by Western commentators as both xenophobic and populist. Polish architecture is truly a thing of beauty. Following the large-scale destruction of the nation in World War II, Poland has had the unique, albeit laborious, opportunity to recreate the state through cultural projects that aim at reshaping the nation's identity. They have produced stunning works meant to promote the arts, education, and to memorialize the tragedies which have befallen the nation historically. Poland is home to a number of remarkable artists. Their vibrant history has produced individuals capable of tremendous works, such as filmmakers Roman Polanski, who produced The Pianist in 2002, Rosemary's Baby in 1968, and most recently The Palace in 2023, and Agnieszka Holland, who also hails from Poland despite her last name, and produced films such as Mr. Jones in 2019 and Green Border in 2023. They are also home to a number of spectacular painters, and one of my own personal favorite artists, Zdzisław Beksinski, who was tragically murdered in 2005 by the son of his caretaker. Pictured are Stanzik, or The Jester, produced by Jan Macieko in 1862 on the top left, Melancholy by Jacek Malzuski on the bottom, and The Trumpeter, created by dystopian artist Beksinski. Polish cuisine is equally as storied as the art and artists who call the country home. They share a lot of similarities with German cuisine, but they have many of their own delicacies, such as the pierogi, which are dumplings filled with meat, cheese, or fruits, golubki, which are stuffed cabbage rolls, and something I would like to never try in sledzi, which is a form of pickled herring. The Polish people have a long history of creating and drinking various forms of alcohol, including beer and mead, and they are noted as having been among the first nations to produce vodka dating back to the 8th century. Some of the most famous Polish icons include Marie Curie, who is not only the first woman to win the Nobel Prize, but she did it twice for her work on radioactivity, Nicolaus Copernicus, whose work produced the heliocentric model of the universe and challenged the status quo, and Frederick Chopin, who is undoubtedly one of the greatest pianists and composers of all time. Politics in Poland have an equally storied history as their art and people. Though they developed largely as a feudal state in 1493, John Albert I implemented a system of bicameral legislation which produced a lower house known as the Sejm and an upper house known as the Senate. Though the Soviet Union held hegemony over Polish affairs until the downfall of communism in the region, Poland today is considered a unitary parliamentary constitutional republic, and they adopted their constitution in 1997. This means that executive power, or the authority to enforce laws and appoint agents, is split between multiple agents, including the president, and the government, which consists of a council of ministers. The ministers are typically chosen from within the lower house and are most often members of the majority party. In regard to the creation of the council, the prime minister suggests who should be in it, the president appoints them, and the Sejm must approve of them to secure their positions. Legislative powers, or the power to create laws within Poland, are held within the two chambers of parliament, the lower and the upper houses. Members of these houses are directly elected every 4 years, and the lower house, the Sejm, consists of 460 members, whereas the Senate is composed of 100 senators. To become a law, a bill must first be approved by both houses, but the Sejm does have the authority to override a Senate refusal to pass a bill. Poland has both a president, who is the head of state, and a prime minister, who is considered the head of government. The president is elected once every 5 years and has to secure a majority of votes in order to procure the position. The role of president, as head of state, means that they are the supreme commander of the armed forces of Poland. They have the right to veto, but much like our nation, can be overridden with a 3/5 vote of the Assembly of the Senate and Sejm. The president, though powerful in some respects, is largely beholden to the considerations of both houses. They can nominate and appoint the Prime Minister, introduce legislation, and exercise powers of pardon, but any official acts must come with the approval of the Council of Ministers and require the signature of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, on the other hand, is the President of the Council of Ministers. They are nominated by the President, though the election of the Prime Minister is not dictated by this nomination. They must be approved by the Assembly, and upon validation of the role, must submit a government agenda, which is then approved by the same, or the lower house. The Prime Minister is recognized as the head of the Council of Ministers and is responsible for coordinating their efforts, implementing policy, and issuing regulation. Signature requirements also enable the Prime Minister to act as a gatekeeper to presidential actions. Today, the Polish president is a man by the name of Andrzej Duda, who is a member of the Law and Order Party, previously criticized for their beliefs, and the Prime Minister is Donald Tusk, who is a member of the Civic Platform Party, which is described as being a center-right liberal conservative party. Though the machinations of their government are quite different from our own in the United States, their constitution provides many of the same rights as our own Bill of Rights. It ensures freedom of the press, democratic rule, and equality among all people under the eyes of the law. They denounce subjugation of its citizens and decry torturous or cruel and inhuman treatment amongst those found guilty within the legal system. State.gov considers Poland a stalwart ally in Central Europe and one of the United States' strongest partners in fostering security and prosperity regionally throughout Europe and the world. Poland is one of the founding members of the World Trade Organization and is directly tied to trade with the EU as well as the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Poland primarily employs bilateral economic relations between itself and many of its trading partners. Considering they are part of the EU, they have tariff-free trading within the Union itself, and this trade comprises between 65 and 75% of Polish foreign trade. The International Trade Administration states that as of 2024, Poland is considered the largest single market among the new European Union members and fifth among all EU member states. Though Poland shares many similarities in economic rules with the EU, they maintain their own currency, which is known as the zloty, and their own monetary policies. As of 2023, Poland has a GDP of roughly $811 billion and is the sixth largest of all EU economies. Due to the country being rich in both minerals and natural resources, Poland exports a great deal of machinery and equipment, metal products, minerals, fuels, chemicals, agricultural products, and textiles. The total value of imports taken into the country slightly exceeds that of its exports and is mostly comprised of vehicle parts, cars, medicines, computers, and crude petroleum. The strength of the Polish economy, combined with the collectivist nature of the Polish people, has created an advanced public welfare system in the nation that has personally left me in a state of envy. Poland has a socialized healthcare system which is financed through a mandatory health contribution paid on wages and covers nearly the entire population. Both undergraduate and postgraduate education are provided to citizens at no cost of their own. There are also many benefits given to families and people who live below the income threshold for Polish citizens and are intended to help them become independent and achieve decent living conditions. These come in various forms, from income assistance to housing and even specialist advice. These benefits are fully available to Polish citizens, members of the European Union, and other foreigners who live in Poland who request aid and have met the conditions necessary to receive them. Poland's economy is doing remarkably well and has seen steady growth over the last 25 years. Poland was the only EU country not affected by the 2008 recession, and despite taking a minor hit due to COVID throughout 2020, has bounced back exceptionally well. Poland has grown to be one of the most important economies in all of Europe and has become a wellspring of foreign investment due to the resilience and reliability of its people and workforce.